Good morning, everyone. How's everyone this morning? What's up, Jiraj? Badir, how are you doing? Oh, boy, here we go, Wednesday, and kind of a slow night, it looks like. Well, overnight inventory is long. We got long overnight inventory. Most of the volume is above yesterday's close. The overnight low is 68.92 and a quarter. So that's where the shorts are bid early in the session, and then they're bid up here underneath the close. And it's just kind of going back and forth here. So when I saw the overnight session, what I did was I used the cost basis from yesterday because I saw we didn't spend much time here. The cost basis is this is the one I used, and we've gone and sold that and brought it right back down to cost basis. So let's go and check out the chart. So yeah, looks like a slow night. Hello, Juan. How you doing? Raj, how are you? The cost basis is right here, TradeMaker. You see? Are you looking at my screen? It's okay. So, what are you having trouble seeing? The blue is the cost basis? Sorry, the balance zone is the cost basis. Sorry, you want me to put a volume profile on there? Is that what you want? Sorry, cost basis can be accumulation or distribution, right? No problem, no problem. So because the overnight opened and went straight up. No, it's a good thing that it's good that you if you have questions, always ask the questions. This is the cost basis. This is where the inventory was at the end of the day yesterday, right? And then this is the distribution of that inventory. And then we came back down, had a little fire sale for 1 minute, and then we're right back in the middle of the cost basis of yesterday. So if I went and drew a volume profile, right? If I draw a volume profile, you'll see that the cost basis is here. See that? No problem. Just want to make sure that you understand. So the balance zone is a cost basis. right? We started calling them balance zones because that's what the profile traders call them. But then I switched the name to cost basis so it would help people understand that that's where the last place that size was priced. Then you take it and sell it, and you bring it back down and put it on sale. So overnight inventory is long. Now we're adjusting lower. Our target will be the close. No problem. Yeah, if you ever have questions about that, just ask because it's really important that you know where everything is priced. Sometimes the excuse me, Globex will open and we'll go sideways for a while and then go up. But as you can see, we opened here and we actually did respect the cost basis, 68.99 to 69.06. That back and forth and then up to 16. Let's see what happens. You can see the business has been slow, right? Really slow. Right? Very, there was probably a nice trade here. That was what, midnight, and then a nice look below and fail here at 3 in the morning. And since then, it has been really slow. What do we have for news today? Today. We have no news today, just Fed speakers. Okay. Hmm. Alrighty. Hey, Moran. Good morning. How are you? Gosh, this is pretty brutally slow. Now, if you're wondering why it's slow, it's because we had a hell of a short squeeze yesterday. Everybody's short underneath, I'd say 67 or 68.74. And nobody wants to play this fine morning because you really don't want to buy size up here. You want to see what we're going to be looking for is when London opens, is London going to take that overnight low at 68.92 and we're going to test the bid. Right, we got a bid above yesterday's high, but didn't move the point of control up. So there's not enough buying to stay over 13. So we had to put price on sale. And you can see it's been consistently going lower. Slowly. Very, very slowly. Not much we can do here. It's in the middle of the zone. Not really much going on. Does anybody have any questions? We're basically just going sideways. Going sideways, going sideways. Crypto's up a little this morning. Bitcoin's trying to find a bottom. Let's see. That's pretty much it. Paint's drying. It'll be a quick session today if this is the considering it's month end and tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow is month end, right? Um, we probably could stick up here, right? If the swing shorts don't decide to start selling, right? They won't sell unless there's a reason to sell. A little bit of still in distribution. Remember, we had a couple of days where we had a liquidation, right? And it's been back and forth, right? It's been back and forth and back and forth. If I get rid of, we found that 44 bid. We looked underneath it twice and then zip right back up. We've just been in this big balance zone. So our swing highs, for those of you who are interested in the long scenario, our swing highs are above 69.33. So taking that level out will take us back into the 7,000s, right? It'll throw us up here into this area. And of course, yesterday was a huge range again, right? 68.30s all the way up to 69.10. Another big, massive range day. And there are a lot of people who are trapped short because of this liquidation, right? There's that B profile into a P profile and then sideways. And if that sideways holds, we'll get that kind of a move higher. If not, we'll come back down to 68.64 and test the previous day low. Gosh. Some of the software companies reported bad earnings. Okay. Well, let's see what happens as London opens. You guys have any questions at all? Yesterday was short covering, definitely. From my market making days, what order flow behaviors or institutional tactics do you see retail traders consistently falling for in futures? Great question. But what they do is they chase price. They don't have discipline. Um, Retail traders consistently think about profit versus risk management. Uh, Retail traders get sucked into every single marketing scheme that's out there, unfortunately, because marketing is really good and it tends to play to your, it plays to your fears and your greed. Um, Number one is chasing price. Number two is not having a business plan. Number three is not having any discipline to enforce their business plan. And really, does that help answer what you're looking for, Rocky? Not really. It's not really an order flow behavior or institutional tactic. It's just a lack of understanding how the business works, and then just executing and executing and executing based on, you know, on stuff that really doesn't even exist. Right? It's a really simple business. It's not a complicated business. They love to make it complicated so you feel like you need to pay for the software or for a course or for something, but everybody forgets it's a market, you know? Everybody forgets it's a market. And a market is to distribute goods, and you need to understand that, there's a wholesale element to it, and sometimes it's a wholesale business. Like right now, there's nothing for us to do. Oh, and I forgot. Retail traders trade at the wrong time because they don't understand the business, right? Yeah, GLD, I'm not going to comment on that particular thing other than they got a really good scam going. Jeez. Almost like a cult, that group. But hey, don't hate the player, right? Hate the game. Trading is not at all, trading education is not at all uh, regulated in any form. So you could be on the fry station at McDonald's, take a picture of yourself next to a Lamborghini, and say that it's your car and you're a trader. And that happens a lot, you know. Um, so unfortunately, the general public, especially if you don't have any knowledge about how the business works, you'll hear some people talk a really good game. They talk a really good game. But ask them what the business reason for the trade is, and they have no clue. So right now, there's no business reason to take a trade. Harry, I did for last night because we didn't have any balance off the opening. But if you come into our room at Trading Syndicate, I've got videos on how to find the balance zone. We're going to run an execution class today at 11 o'clock a.m. And, oh, isn't it NVIDIA earnings today? Yeah, so maybe, is that after the close? I would assume. So balance zones are really easy. Like if I were to do one right now, Harry, right, it's like I would find two lows and two highs. And when we hit that low, do we hit that high? And then when we come back to that low, do we stop at that low? Basically, that's all you're looking for. Balance is a cost basis where the wholesalers are going back and forth. That's what they're doing. So if you had a balance, let me see if I can find a clean chart. Where's the chart? All right, let's go try and, while we're doing this, let's go look at a balance zone, okay? So what I do if you had a clean chart like this, right, you see how these lows kind of match up and then there's a seller here and then it breaks out and comes back in? That's kind of what you're looking for, right? This itself here is a little mini balance. This is a balance, right? It's two-sided trading, right? These are all like little balance zones, right? So what I do is I'll come in and I'll look and I'll draw a triangle, I mean a rectangle, sorry, right? And I'll try and find lows that match up and highs that match up. See, you got these highs and this low, and when you go to that low, you go right back to that high. Do you see that? So you got these two highs and this low, and then it gets tested here. It hits that low, goes right back to that high, and comes right back to that low. Right? Looks below that low, goes above, comes back, looks below again. Right? You could see that it's two-sided trade in this little box. So once you do that, then you just double it to the upside and double it to the downside. And then what we do is, it's just like knowing where your inventory is priced. So if that's where your inventory is priced, and then you double it, this is the profit zone. And you'll see it works pretty much to the tick. See that? It gave you your high to the tick. It'll blow you away, right? Do you see how that happens? Yeah. Yeah, I usually do that with highs and lows, but truth is I woke up late. I looked at the chart and I saw this trend up, from the Globex Open, so I just used yesterday's. But if I were now looking at it, you could use this if you want, right? Does that make sense to you guys? And the trades that we like to take are what we call the look below and fail. So when the market comes down, looks below a level, and goes back up, you'd go long, you put your stop here, and then you sell into the strength, right? Look below and fail, long, stop, sell, right? It's rotation, right? So that's basically balance. Yeah, I cheated a little bit because I woke up, I saw this, and I went, okay, there's a balance here. I couldn't really make head or tails out of this distribution, so no coffee either. Good question. Okay. Man, oh boy, this is slow. Paradox. The size traders are buying the lows and selling the highs of the balance zone. That's why they call it making a market when it's slow. So a big candle comes in, the order book empties out, and it moves the market. So I'm kind of confused by your question, Harry. What are you trying to figure out? Size moves the markets? Yeah, size moves the markets. That's not a mystery. So here you had a big sell order come in. Everybody stepped away. The short sellers came in and covered. The wholesalers bought, we bought. People who shorted down under 68.99 started to cover and pushed price up to 69.11. Does that make sense? Like what is the purpose of your question? Paradox, how do they not move the market? Maybe I'm missing something. It's pretty simple, right? So say you have a certain amount of net capital. I don't want to go into market making too much, but if you have larger ranges and a big order comes in, you'll step away from it because you can't devote as much capital to a market that has a large range because you have a certain amount of capital. So if a large buy or sell order comes in, it will move the market in a thinly traded market, which this is. George, you still there? So right now, if you look at the ES, it's like 20 contracts at every tick. So if I come in with a 300, 400 contract order, all those bids and offers are going to move very quickly. Size traders do move the market. Because it's the order flow. How do they do it without moving the market? Because the order flow. If it's slow, what they're going to do, here, I'll explain it. It's going to be it's hard for you guys to understand because you don't understand market making. But let's look at this box, right? What they do is under 69.06, they're a buyer. When the market goes over 69.06, when a few buyers come in, they flip to the offer. Then they start competing at here, right? So when it's slow, they don't move the market because of competition. That's what you guys don't get. Is the thing of competition. There's not just one size traders. There's a whole bunch of them. No. Actually, trade maker, you're wrong because one contract will not move the market because somebody will take the other side. Like in a stock, that's a completely different story, right? So, like if there's a stock and there's nothing in the float, sure, you can move the market with 100 shares because all the market makers will back away if they don't have an order. But that's why you don't want to trade a thin market, right? A market without any float is what we call a thin market. Do you understand? Okay. Jiraj, you know the answer to this, man. Come on. You know the answer. Thanks, Badir. Okay, good. Don't go down the rabbit hole. Everyone's going down the rabbit hole this morning, Jiraj, because it's boring and it's slow, right? Stick to your plan. Don't get distracted by all this stuff, okay? It's easy to do. Better for you to go to the gym, right? Yeah, and that's why I tell people don't trade thinly traded penny stocks because they're very dangerous, right? So if you're a one contract, three contract e-mini trader, you got nothing to worry about, right? If you're trying to put on size at 3 o'clock in the morning in New York and you're trying to move 1,000 contracts, then you got to worry. Let's see if we can creep above VWAP now. Sorry. Overnight POC has moved down. So now what we're going to do, Jiraj, we're going to go sell, distribute, right? Order flow and inventory move the market. So if you've got a lot of contracts and you see a lot of buyers coming in, you raise price. But what if there's 30 other people who don't? Who sit there and start plugging those buy orders? Boom, boom, boom. What are you going to do, George? You got to sell, right? That's why you have this slowness, right? It's just a slow night in the market, right? That's all it is. See, and once we get up to this 69, what is that, 69.09 and a quarter half, you'll see that there'll be a seller here. If there is no seller here, it means that they've seen a lot of buyers and they're going to raise price to here, right? And if those sellers see buyers, there'll be inventory on the way up. See? Because any seller would like to sell their product as high as they can, as long as they can, right? But the problem is there's other sellers. That's what creates that bracketed range, because everybody sells at the same place. See, you have selling competition here. It's happening right now, right? You have selling competition at 69.5 half. They printed the 3/4 because they saw some desperate buyers coming in. So they'll lift their offers, print them, and fill them. If there's no follow through, we'll come back under 69.05, 69.09 and a half. Does that make sense, you guys? Because everyone's selling. There's sellers here, there's sellers here, there's sellers here. Look how they're selling into it, right? Just look. So how do we use this information in a practical way? Well, if you were long 6 or 7, you'd want to be selling here at 9 because you've got competition, right? See how simple it is? So if you went long here, you know that there's going to be sellers here. So do you just delusionally put your sell orders here? No, you put your sell orders here. If they get taken, then you can put the rest up here. But if not, get out. Take your money and run, right? So that's how the market doesn't move, because there's the order flow doesn't exist to move it, George. Traders don't just move the market unless the customers are there. That's what order flow is. Order flow is customers coming into the shop. Are there enough customers coming into the store that we can raise price? No? Okay, we're going to sell here. Oh, somebody's undercutting me? I'm going to undercut them, right? I'm selling at 69.09 and Badir comes in at 69.08 and 3/4. I got to price compete. Let's see. Oh, look, found some suckers, right? So there's the next level, right? So what does that tell us when London opens and doesn't even get a tick underneath its London open? What does that tell you? It tells you somebody's really short and desperate to cover, because we just took out these levels of sellers very quickly, right? So a larger size set of buyers came in, and what did the sellers do? The sellers are long here. What did they do? They raised price. It's simple commerce, right? It's really simple commerce, right? We should have some selling at the previous day high, which is 12 3/4. Does that make sense to you guys? Let me know. When it's slow like this, your mind is going to wander. right? You're going to wander. You'll start looking at Twitter. Don't let it. Focus on where the sellers are and where your edge is, right? Now the sellers who are long where the overnight POC was, see how it moved up? The overnight point of control moved up. So we're distributing. So those people who were long at 69.05, they're selling at 69.08. That brought in buyers, right? Now let's see if we can take out yesterday's high. Sometimes it breaks the low of this balance because of a large order takes it underneath. It's all order flow, my friends. So at 3 o'clock in the morning, if I'm a market maker, right, let's go take a look, right? At 3 o'clock in the morning, right, if I'm a market maker and I see a huge sell order coming in, I'm going to drop my buy orders all the way down and try and absorb it as cheap as I can, right? But what's going to happen in this chart is who are the first people to come in and buy this, right? The people who come in and buy the bottom here are short sellers who are short. And look how big this candle is. It's 68.92 quarter all the way up to 69.02. So the short sellers came in, right? Why did they come in? They're always first to come in. Well, because they're closing a trade. They're closing a transaction. So the short sellers come in. These are the smart money shorts. Then wholesale comes in and buys, wholesale longs. Then retail. And then the dumb money shorts who shorted here, added here, they come in to cover and they rip the thing up to 69.12. That's the sequence. And once you understand how the sequence works, folks, it'll just repeat itself over and over and over again, and you'll see it over and over again. Right? So we took price up for a couple of minutes. All the suckers came in. We filled them. Now we're going to sell it all the way back down to VWAP. And who was asking the mistakes that traders make? They chase price. So if you had chased price and you had bought up here, now you're trapped at 69.11. You're puking it out at 69.07. Right? It's a simple business. See? Right back to VWAP. Let's see what happens next. That was the most excitement we've had all morning. Oh. Now if it just starts chopping around, we'll shut the session down a little early. Let you guys go get in a workout or something. Right? If we have a big sale, we'll come all the way back down to 69.04. Right? See, that's where the London Open was, right at yesterday's cost basis. That's pretty much it. We do the same thing every day, folks. Right? So remember, tomorrow is month end. Friday is market maker month end. Make sure you only take those trades that are A plus setups. What is an A plus setup? An A plus setup is a setup that you have taken hundreds of times. You know it intimately. You know the differences in the order flow. You understand the differences in what type of market conditions to take that setup, right? You understand that setup might have 20 or 30 different variations, right? That's an A plus setup. You are the A plus setup. It's not a magic setup. It's not like, magic beans or something like that. The A plus setup depends on you, okay? So have you practiced it? Do you know it inside and out, right? It's like a football play that you could run with your eyes closed, right? That's it for today, my friends. Trade safe out there. Don't get sucked into the chop. Come visit us at tradingsyndicate.org and we'll teach you how to do business properly and not get caught up in stuff. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. And remember, Execution Lab, execution course at 11 o'clock a.m. I will leave the Discord room. I'll put the room in the Discord link in the room. Thanks, everyone. Bye for now.